So for our first question, si Ma'am po.
Hi, I'm just curious because the first speaker mentioned 10 top picks, and then our second speaker used technical analysis by moving average slide, and there are no overlapping stocks. There aren't any common stocks between the two analysis. Why is that po?
Uh, First of all, Herman used the word harass. I'm his boss, so I can harass him back. So, uh, I've been with Abacus almost 23 years. Lawrence has been with Abacus even longer, and it's not uncommon. It's not uncommon for our presentations to go in different directions. Sometimes talagang ganon. The fundamentals will go against the technicals. We're comfortable, we're quite comfortable with that. Pero to answer your question, we're screening the stocks, we're screening equities differently. Yun nga, valuations are more important siguro on my end. He has his own technical signals. So there's really no way to predict if we will end up with the same basket of stocks at any given point in time. Sometimes we do agree, but right now, I guess we're diverging in some way. You have anything?
But what I can personally say, because I read Nikki's report, if you follow Nikki's report, you will make money. I'm more of a trader kasi, so with technicals, the time frame that I look could be a lot shorter than Nikki's perspective. He might be looking for value in the company, which will be realized probably 6 months, 1 year, or 2 years. But I tend to look at the trend, what will happen in the next few days or even in the next few weeks, but rarely what will happen next year. If you ask me, what's my index target for December, I can say with you, say to you with 100% confident voice, index 10,000. But does that mean anything? That will mean nothing because I don't see that happening on the chart. So usually that's one of the funniest questions that we get during presentations. What's our index target for the year? So even if I say 10,000 or 8,000, it doesn't mean much. And
For the top picks po, kasi Sir told us to follow you, is it better to invest now or wait for the cloud to clear up?
They say that it's darkest before the dawn, no? Di ba? So I wouldn't exactly say wait for the clouds to clear because by that time you may have lost a lot of your upside already. Maybe it's better to start accumulating slowly. Maybe while the clouds are still there, maybe commit 20-25% of your portfolio already to these stocks and then continue to add little by little moving forward. Next question.
So Raymond, what were the standard deviations of in the stocks the last global recession? Did you make any studies?
That one, I'm sorry, I did not look at. I did not look at that. But like I said, it's very rare to see stocks trading at two standard deviations below their mean, below their respective means.
When was the last time did you check, were you able to check some history?
I can't recall off the top of my head, no. Pero one of the charts that we did point out kanina, si AC, I think that was in 2012, 2013 when it was last touching its two standard deviations below its mean. And then it went up significantly over the next 1 to 2 years.
Okay, let me read out some questions that were texted. For Sir Nicky, please comment on Wholesome in light of the PCC statement.
On Wholesome, we never thought that it was 100% secure. What we were telling clients, what I was telling our traders is that it's probably 80%, 75-80% chance that it would be approved. However, it's the 20-25% that came out, no? And the PCC has enumerated its concerns, but at the same time, they did not say that the merger or the acquisition was disapproved. Now this morning, San Miguel came out with a statement saying that they are committed to doing what is necessary to get PCC approval. So while Wholesome will probably fall on Monday, the game is not over. No? I think Mr. Ang really wants Wholesome, and he will do whatever it takes to get PCC approval.
Questions from the floor. Sige, sige.
Sir Nick, good afternoon. If the franchise of ABS will not be renewed, is it a goodbye or a sell?
BYE. BYE, not BUY. Just kidding. It's really hard, no? The decision is, or the ball is in the court of Congress. And I think everyone here will agree that it's really very hard to predict what they will do. Yesterday we pointed out that there are only 30 session days
Sir,
remaining.
Yeah, I've read that. Actually, it's half of that only. Kasi kami sa Congress, 3 session days lang po kami, Monday to Wednesday.
Okay. Less than half that. Okay. So it's even worse than I thought. But at the same time, if the market believes that ABS will not get the franchise, then why is GMA 7 not moving up? Because GMA 7 is going to be the primary beneficiary if ABS even does not get the franchise. So I think the market is still hopeful that ABS will get the franchise. If it does not, then we have to see what management will do. They've been saying that they're preparing for a shift to digital. So ABS is not going to be worth zero even after March 31. But we really have to see first what management is going to do after in case the franchise does expire.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, for Sir Nicky, any comments on the implications of the extension for the tender offer of PIP shares?
Pepsi? it was actually a surprise for us that the tender offer required PCC approval because the one that is making the tender offer is already the majority shareholder of PIP. So I don't know why it was a covered transaction. Attorney Refran was explaining it earlier, but I don't think I got exactly the gist of the explanation. So it's unfortunate that it needs PCC approval because as we've seen in the past few years, PCC takes a very long time. But at the same time, we don't believe that the tender offer will be revoked or we don't think that it will be withdrawn. So the worst case for us is that shareholders will have to wait significantly longer lang to get their money if they tender the shares. Maybe as long as June or even July.
Hello. To Sir Lawrence, I have a question. In your presentation, you show the four stages of the stocks. So how can you differentiate that between stage 1 and stage 3?
Stage 1 and stage
3. So I think they're both sideways
no,
on
no,
stage 1 and
stage 1 is flat, then stage 2 is up, stage 3 is sideways again. So okay.
So maybe it is better to look in hindsight, but how
Yeah.
can you see when it is stage 1 or stage 3?
If you look at the big picture of the chart, if there's a prior significant run-up and it goes sideways, then you should be open to two possibilities. One is for the trend to resolve higher with a breakout, or for the trend to reverse with a chart breakdown. So normally I can draw two lines, one on the resistance, on the support, and if it breaks either level, then that would be a good indication as to where the next movement would be.
Good afternoon. I have a question about with this noise in the market, di ba? Alam naman natin. So, I'm observing the market leaders on property like Ali, DMC, SMPH, and all of them are going down. I'm just curious about house because house is not having a downtrend. It's just a parang consolidation. Why is that the house is more resilient despite the facts na maraming nangyayari in our market?
I'll mention two factors. First is that I think there are a lot of property companies in the market, and to a certain extent, there may be too many property companies. There's a long list, and it actually doesn't, and it's actually not representative of the economy as a whole. As Attorney Refran mentioned earlier, we don't have a consumer index, but 70% of GDP is consumer. At the same time, there are a lot of property companies, but property is just a small fraction of the economy as a whole. So when investors structure their portfolios, especially foreign investors, they only have enough funds, or they only look at the top property companies. So since the market is very dependent on foreign funds, and since these foreign funds are only concentrated in a handful of stocks, SM Prime, Ali, RLC, Megaworld, then there's really not a lot of volatility left for the smaller property companies like House, like CLI, like FLI even. especially FLI. If you look at the chart of FLI from 1997, it's very flat. No? That's one thing. No? The very, very few foreign investors will look at the smaller property companies. And second, I guess the liquidity has already dried up with house, and investors or traders are looking for volatility, so it gets left behind.
Due to limited time, I think we can only entertain one last question from the floor.
Hello. Nikki, for the rebalancing, I think you have, most of the time you have accurate in this one. Rebalancing on the PSEI members, and then do you see any upside for the MSCI? I think the inclusion of China last year is already done. Do you see any upside on the existing members that we have now?
On the local rebalancing, we had a report out recently. We're not expecting any changes to the PSEI. However, we do expect a positive reweighting for SM Prime because the free float of SM Prime went up significantly. So that will probably keep SM Prime afloat over the next few weeks. At the same time, much of the additional weighting for SM Prime will be taken out of SM and BDO. So maybe a good idea to switch from SM BDO and into SM Prime, at least temporarily, just for a trade. But I'd like to emphasize that we are underweight actually on both SM and SM Prime for the longer term. Yun nga, because their valuations have actually gone up relative to the market, and medyo nag-iisa sila doon or dalawa lang sila doon. With regard to the MSCI, it's much harder to predict. No? However, if I had to make a call, and I think there's a relatively high possibility or even probability that Metro Pacific will be removed from the MSCI. Will be deleted from the MSCI. We're not calling it a certainty, no? But because of its huge decline in share price, its market cap has gone down significantly, and its market cap right now is even lower than the market cap of DMC and AGI when they were deleted or demoted from the MSCI last quarter.